Hello, and welcome to a very festive episode of the Killer Author Club. Tonight, we are getting our Killer Christmas on with Benjamin Stevenson here with his latest hilarious hit, Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret. We have tons to talk about, so grab your cocktail and your list of questions for Killer Benjamin, and we will see you on the flip side.
Welcome to the Killer Author Club. 3 best-selling authors talking about killing, of the fictional kind, with the best thriller and suspense authors in the business. Killer conversations, killer cocktails, and killer guests, with your hosts, Kimberly Bell, Heather Gutenkopf, and Kara Ruda. This is the Killer Author Club.
Hello to all our new members and to the Killer Author Club OGs online or listening to the podcast. We are so glad to welcome you to the club. I'm Killer Kimberly Bell.
And I'm Killer Heather Gutenkopf.
And I'm Killer Kara Ruda.
And tonight we have Killer Benjamin coming in all the way from Australia to answer our every burning question about Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret. This episode promises to be extra festive and fun. Speaking of fun, how about some fun in your inbox? We have a killer newsletter, and it is chock full of bookish news. We only send it out once a month, no spam. We promise. It is coming up later this month, so sign up today at killerauthorclub.com. Also, if you can't get enough of our live shows, check out the Killer Postmortem, otherwise known as the After Show, which is exclusive to our Killer podcast. Tonight's show will be available on your favorite podcasting app this Friday. Links to download are on killerauthorclub.com.
Benjamin is an award-winning stand-up comedian and USA Today best-selling author. He is the author of the globally popular Ernest Cunningham Mysteries. Can you stand up and share your sweater there, Benjamin, so everybody can see?
Have a very earnest Christmas.
We love it.
Okay.
Including Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, which is currently being adapted into a major HBO TV series. We can't wait to hear a little more about that. And Everyone on This Train is a Suspect. His books have sold over 750,000 copies in 29 territories and have been nominated for 8 Book of the Year awards. And you can learn more about Benjamin at benjaminstevensonauthor.com. Congrats, Benjamin, and welcome to the Killer Author Club.
Thanks very much. And I feel like it's my obligation to say g'day.
Yes.
It absolutely is.
So we love the book, and we have so many questions about Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret, but can you start by giving a brief elevator speech about the book?
Yeah, sure. So my detective, Ernest Cunningham, he's a huge fan of traditional Golden Age murder mysteries, and he keeps finding himself involved in real life ones. He keeps basically tripping over dead bodies, and he thinks that if he applies the rules of his favorite fictional detectives, Sherlock Holmes, Poirot, he can solve these real life crimes. This is his 3rd murder mystery, and as any series detective knows, it means they're due a holiday special. And on December 21st, he gets a call from his ex-wife. She's been locked up in prison because she has woken up upstairs in her house, covered in her partner's blood, and her partner has been murdered downstairs in the kitchen. And she says she went to bed, she doesn't remember going downstairs, and he hasn't been upstairs. So how did the blood get on her, and how did he die? And did she do it when she's literally been caught red-handed? And Ernest comes in to solve a mystery filled with festive clues to see if he can solve it by Christmas time. Where also all of his suspects are, because her partner's job is backstage at a theatre of a magic show, all the suspects are magicians. So illusionists, hypnotists, mentalists, magicians, assistants, everybody who is a professional in the art of trickery. And Ernest has to face up to the reality that a good murder is just like a good magic trick. And can he see through the tricks and solve the murder?
So good. We loved it. So readers and our listeners out here, get chatty and start dropping your questions into the comments for us to ask of Benjamin. But first of all, it's time to talk about this episode's special drink.
That's right. The killers love our cocktails and mocktails. And every episode, we ask our killer guests to come equipped with a favorite and recipes for tonight's drink, and all of the other cocktails that have come before are at killerauthorclub.com. So, Killer Benjamin has chosen the Sherlock Holmes as his special drink tonight. Can you tell us why you picked this cocktail?
Yeah, so I love a whiskey sour, and this was as close to a whiskey sour as had, you know, a golden age kind of crime tie-in. So I thought that sounds great. I mean, it's basically, well, the recipe that I looked at online is basically a whiskey sour with tea in it. So that was the inspiration for it. It is 1 p.m. in Australia, and I'm in the middle of a writing day, so I actually don't have one made on my desk. Because I thought it might throw me off into the afternoon. But I will raise one tonight, raise a glass to you guys tonight.
Right. Well, cheers to Sherlock Holmes. How about
Cheers.
that? Cheers. Kimberly.
All right. So the Killers started the Killer Author Club a couple years ago so that readers like you can interact with some of the best suspense and thriller authors in the business. Our winter lineup includes superstars like Geneva Rose, Greg Hurwitz, Lisa Unger, Hannah Morrissey, and so many more for dates, times, past episodes, etc. Surf to killerauthorclub.com. But tonight we're here to talk about Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret, getting rave reviews on Goodreads, packed full of seemingly impossible crimes and one heck of an amateur sleuth. I love trying to work out the who in this masterful whodunit before it was revealed in all its well-plotted glory. I agree with that. Suburbly clever Christmas mystery. The idea of a Christmas special book and there being rules to Christmas specials is an especially inspired choice. Loved this one. So, Benjamin, as our very first Christmas killer, we would like to know your answer to the killer question, how do you kill?
Yeah, now I thought about this, and, you know, I've spent 20 years as a stand-up comedian, and kill is a very specific word in the stand-up comedy business. It's did you kill or did you not kill is kind of the thing. And if you don't kill, you bomb. So those are the two opposites. So how do you kill is to have a ripping, how do I kill? Have a ripping gig on stage, just a really great gig on stage. But I think in terms of the books, I start every book with a murder, right? The murder comes almost before the setting or the characters. It's the funnest thing to me. And I want something insane, something crazy and impossible kind of mystery that also has that little sizzle of fun to it as well, that makes you kind of ears prick up and go, oh, that's interesting. So how do I kill? Is I kill by the impossible conundrum, which is the golden age mystery fiction tenet of the murder that shouldn't have been able to happen but has happened, and now let's find a realistic expectation for this crazy thing that's happened. So a classic brain teaser example is the scuba diver found dead up a tree in the middle of a desert in a full wetsuit with a scuba tank on, right? And that's not a plot of any book. That's just an old brain teaser. And the answer to that is that a helicopter was putting out a bushfire and scoop the scuba diver up and drop them into the desert. So I want an impossible conundrum. That's how I kill. And the impossible conundrum in this book is a person decapitated by a piece of paper. And so as soon as I come up with a sentence like that, I don't know how that's happened, but I love the idea of it so much. And then I pull out my computer, start typing away, and start figuring out who I'm going to kill because I know how I'm going to do it.
Oh, wow.
I love that. So basically you come up with the murder before you figure out how it happened or who did it.
It comes from a few places, but yeah, I need the impossible conundrum. And so I need the kind of the tone, because none of my murders are just kind of knives in the back in the library or you know,
Right.
One of those kind of classic, okay, they're dead, and then everything else comes from that. It's more about the ingenuity of the murderer, because when you have a detective who is, you know, his heroes are the golden age mystery detectives, he has to have an ingenious killer to come up against. And an ingenious killer, well, they're not just going around committing everyday murders. So I need that absolute exciting and impossible thing that I don't really know how it works. And then the other thing that starts a book off for me is a group of people with pre-existing reasons to kill each other, and a place to trap them and see if they do. And then if I can combine all three of those parts of the triangle, that's when I have a launching point to start writing a book.
Love it.
Great. So great. Well, you talked a little bit about setting the tone for the book, and the prologue really sets the tone for the book. You say, or the character says, there are quite a few differences between an Australian Christmas and the stereotypical Northern Hemisphere fare seen in most books and movies. For one thing, we don't get snow down under. What we do get, in my specific experience, is more murders. Okay, those are brilliant sentences. Great way to start a book. Did that like come to you, or did you have to like toil away over that first paragraph?
Oh gosh, anything you think in the book that is pretty good took me at least 2 months. I'm so slow. It'll take me a month to kind of get a sentence right. Like I'll be writing everything else, but that first sentence of the book will still be sitting. I mean, the opening sentence of the first book in the series, Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, is everyone in my family has killed someone. Some of us, the high achievers, have killed more than one. And that came to me very quickly and never changed. But I think those are the only two sentences that kind of stuck around. But this one, yeah, you know, I mean, I knew I wanted it to be an Aussie Christmas. I wanted it to be, it's ridiculous. I'm wearing this sweater for viewers, by the way. It's 35 degrees in Sydney today. You know, I wanted it to be the Aussie Christmas that I grew up with, which is, you know, we spray paint cricket stumps on our garbage bins and play out in the backyard, backyard cricket with its glasses of white wine with ice in them. It's cold prawns. I guess you call them shrimp. It's cold prawns and seafood and ham. You know, it's hot, and I love that. And so I wanted to do that. So I knew in the back of my mind, I was like, this book is about the differences between an Australian Christmas and a Northern Hemisphere Christmas that we usually see in our Christmas specials. They're normally kind of snow-capped, or particularly the European Christmas Carol, those kind of things. And then I thought, well, this should just be the first sentence of the book if that's what the book is about. And I thought, what else sets my book apart? Well, a lot of people tend to die. So let's throw that in there as well. And then I had the opening.
Well, it was worth those 2 months that it took you to write that, because that was perfect.
And the other thing, the structure with the Advent calendar with the 24 chapters and the 23 clues, did that just come to you while you're writing? Did you have that in mind ahead of time? How did you come up with that?
I'm always looking for a little kind of structural difference in my books than, say, a straight down the line crime novel, because I want my books to be playful, but it's got to add to the mystery. So in the first book, the structure, it's a family reunion. Each chapter reveals which family member has killed someone. And in the second book, it's the group of characters are crime writers, and the structure of the book is that each section of the book is a different genre of crime writing as it goes through and encounters, okay, this is forensic thriller, this is psychological thriller. So I knew I needed something structural, also because it binds together the book. It gives me something to write for. This is such a, you know, a simplistic way of looking at it, but that doesn't mean it's not true, is that if I've broken up a book into, let's say, 6 sections for 6 characters, as with the crime writers, then that means I only need 6 15,000 sections. And I can do that. Like I can sort of, rather than thinking of it as one 85,000 word lump, I can kind of think of it as broken into sections. So this one, it is structured as an Advent calendar. It's 24 chapters, and each chapter gives you one clue to the mystery, and the 24th reveals the killer. So the idea is, if you start reading it on December 1st and read a chapter a day, you'll solve the murder on Christmas Eve, which still works. It just means you have to gobble up 11 chocolates today, and then you can keep going.
I love it.
But the kind of exciting thing with that was, now I had my thing to write to. So it was really fun.
Yeah. Well, and one of the reviewers that I read said something about it being super smartly plotted, and it is packed, and I mean packed with clues. How do you keep all of that straight? Do you write from an outline, or are you just winging it as you go?
I write from an outline. I plot quite methodically, and I know all of the clues and puzzles and the answers to the puzzles, because I don't think I could set them up properly if I was kind of just winging it through. So I am pretty tight to the plot outline, but I leave it with a bit of flexibility, because as you guys will know, if you're writing really rigid to a plot outline, what happens is you get halfway through the book and your plot outline says this needs to happen, and your characters say absolutely not. And then you get stuck. So I say I plot 80% and discover 20% is kind of how I do it. But the puzzles are all solved before I start the book, because I really want them to come from that place. I mean, the reason the advent calendar kind of works, and the reason that there are so many clues in my books, is because it's a fair play mystery. So fair play means that I have to tell the reader directly every time there's a clue. So there's no picking up a piece of paper and putting it down and then at the end saying, oh, on this piece of paper, it was really important, it was an insurance report or a house contract or whatever, and that helps solve the mystery. In my books, when the piece of paper is picked up, it tells the reader everything that's on the paper and everything that's important on the paper. Okay, it's this, and it was signed by this person, blah, blah, blah. There's no discovering things later that we've already seen. There's reinterpreting things, but no rediscovering. And so in that way, I have to know them all, because I'm telling you as they come along, I can't backfill them, which is kind of, yeah, you know, it's really fun for me. It makes me a slow writer, as I said before, but that's the way I do it. I want to have it all in my head, and I don't write it down. Once I start writing the book, people ask me, do I have a cork board of red strings and everything to keep up?
You don't write it down?
It's just all in my head, and I just go into a hole until I come out the other end.
I want to get in your head.
I know. Me too.
I know it's a little hard to see, but there's an example of the door of the advent calendar for the first clue of the first chapter, and those are throughout the book, which is just a fun treat to have as a reader.
Yeah, I'll show you the oh, let's see if I can find this. Oh no, the pressure of live streaming and me trying to find a page. And that's the full spread.
Oh yeah.
With some doors open, and all 24 are open at the end of the book.
Yeah. Very cool.
So great. And it's so great that the art complements it the way that the publisher published it. It's so great.
Oh, they did such an amazing job. I love coming to my publisher with just insane ideas. Can we do this? Can we try this? Can we have pictures and maps and schematics and stuff? And, you know, the first draft of my novel in Word document, where I've hand-drawn all these little squares that are supposed to be advent calendars, and I'm not an artist, or, you know, a fake outline of a train. And I say, can we do this? And then they come back 2 months later with this incredible design. And I'm like, oh, wow, I really have nothing to do with how good it looks, but I will, yes, happily throw the accolades on my brilliant publishing team.
It'd be fun to see the before and after. Like, you should share your doodles and then what your publisher comes up with. That would be really fun to see.
It would be fun. I have no interest in ruining my career by showing just how terrible my vision for the book is. You should, I mean, you know, you get to chat about covers or stuff, and you kind of throw out suggestions. And I'll often, early in my career, I would often say, what about this color or something? And then the designer would politely explain to me that, you know, pink and green should not be seen unless there's something, or, you know, just basic design rules. And I'd go, oh, okay. And then they'd show me the cover, and I'd be like, that looks horrific, what I suggested. Thank you. Thank you for indulging me, but you are correct.
Yes, but you carry on and do what you do, and I'll do what I do.
Exactly.
Nice.
So I'm seeing some comments fly by about this series. Do they need to read Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone first before they read this, or can it be read as a standalone?
It can be read as a standalone. So I do the kind of golden age thing, same detective, new case. So Ernest carries through the books, but he's got a new cast of suspects and a new murder victim in each book to pick from, the killers. You can read them in any order. There are 1 or 2 characters that pop up which will reveal that they survived the events of the first book, but there are still over a dozen suspects in that book, so you'll be right. So yes, you can read them in any order.
Great.
So tell us a little bit more about Ernest. I mean, where did he come from? He's such a unique character. He's so, like, his wit, he's so funny, but very serious about what he does. You know, he's very serious about solving these murders. Where did he come from for you?
Well, I wanted to write a traditional style detective mystery, but I didn't think it would work. Not because those mysteries aren't good, but just because we've all been so well trained by the classics and the reinterpretations of the classics that we kind of know all of the tenets of, as I said before, a fair play mystery. The reader can kind of see it coming, or can kind of realize that they're on the train of this type of mystery, and they're like, okay, I'm on board this type of mystery, and this is what happens, you know? And so their expectations, therefore, and that's why books kind of evolved into the space of the psychological thriller, the unreliable narrator, you know, Gone Girl, Girl on the Train. You know, these all come from how does the writer then subvert the reader's expectations? Because if you just go down by the rules of fair play, then we're all too familiar with them. So let's subvert them by suddenly having an unreliable narrator. And then there's this new wash of brilliant novels that kind of follow that. But I wanted to do it the old school way. But I didn't know how to pull it off without cheating the fair play rules or kind of having a more modern tone. And the way to do that, I realized, was a character who knows everything that I know about crime writing. You know, he's able to walk into a scene and say, well, usually in a crime novel, this would happen. And then when it does, he goes, oh, I knew this would happen. Or he can kind of get to that next level of crime solving, because we all understand that their phones are going to run out of batteries. They're going to be trapped by a snowstorm. You know, we all understand that. So let's bring us all in on a kind of high level. And it allowed me to play with the reader's expectations of what is going to happen in a novel or not. And to do that, he has to be funny. Because if he's not funny, then it's too academic. He's kind of pointing things out and lecturing you on the rules of crime fiction. But if he's funny, then he's just kind of sarcastic and he can make an aside. And, you know, the best example of this is in the first book, I think he says, oh, and this person can't be the killer, obviously, because look at the page number. You've still got 100 pages left against your right thumb. And so he's understanding that you're reading the book and that you're flipping through it, and that any reader of crime fiction will be like, well, this feels like it's the twist, but it's not the twist because there's so much more to go. The side note, in the ebook, he says Kindle percentage, and in the audiobook, he says, you know, an hour and a half left, depending on your listening speed. So he's across his mediums, Ernest. So he's got to be forthright and he's got to be funny to get that forthrightness, so that he can playfully address and deconstruct the tropes of the genre, and therefore give you a new twist on it that you don't see coming. So that's kind of his whole function. His whole comedic function is to enhance the mystery element. But also he's chatty and he's fun to write. He kind of thinks like me, which helps. I think for a long time, I wrote some books in Australia before Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone came out, and they weren't funny at all. They were just straight down the line crime novels. And I realized that I wasn't using my full skill set because I was worried that people might not take me seriously as a crime writer. But what it really meant was I hadn't found my full voice yet. And my full voice is, look, I can write a great mystery novel, but I can also write great humor. And so why don't I do both in the books?
And you did it brilliantly. I mean, it's just so fresh and fun, and it makes you smile. And then you're also engaged in the, it's a perfect blend. So congratulations. It's amazing. We love it.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I think the key for me is that the mysteries are really important in the books. You know, the plot has to be deadly serious. It's got to hold up on its own. It's got to be fun to solve. It's got to be, you know, it's got to take you on a roller coaster of the thriller. And that's really exciting. And then the humor can come from the perspective of the characters, but it can never you can never trade plot for humor, because then you're writing a comedic farce kind of mystery, right, not a mystery that's lightly humorous. So, but I'm glad you found it funny, because if you find the books, the funnier you find the books, the better I'm able to hide the clues, because you're busy laughing at them. Right. So that's another trick that I'm trying to do.
Absolutely. It's great. So Heather.
Yes. Yeah. So we are so lucky to know that Benjamin is giving away 5 copies of Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret to 5 lucky US viewers. It doesn't matter if you're watching us on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. We scour the comments everywhere we stream, but please make sure you tell us where you're at so we know that you're from the US. And for a chance to win, all you have to do is tell us which of Benjamin's books is being made into a major HBO TV series. So drop that in the comments and you will have a chance to win one of 5 copies of this fantastic book.
Yay. Good luck, everybody. And the Killers are big fans of independent bookstores, as you guys know, and we want to support them any way we can, which is why we ask every author to tell us their favorite. Since most of you are not from down under like Benjamin, tonight we're just celebrating bookshop.org, where you can support your own favorite indie bookstore when you shop online. So tonight, go ahead and we're dropping the link, right? Kimberly already did it. Okay, she's one step ahead. So you can order, yeah, you are fast. So you can order Benjamin's books right there.
That's right. All right. So obviously the Killers love to read, and the Killer Author Club is the place to share the love for fabulous books. Post pictures, write reviews, ask for recommendations, and give yours. We love it when our TBR cups runneth over, which is why we want to ask Benjamin, what are you currently reading?
Yeah, I just finished, so I'll slide it in there because it's a strong recommendation. I just finished Chris Whitaker's All the Colors of the Dark, which I just thought was fantastic. So loved that.
I have not read that one yet, but I have heard such good things. It's on my list for sure. For any audiobook fans out there, we have a killer anthology for your to put on your radar, the Twisted Women's Book Club, an Audible original. And it is written by a whole host of fabulous authors, including some killer alums, Robert Dugoni, Shari LaPena, Claire McIntosh, B.A. Paris, Sarah Pekkanen, Karen Slaughter, Stacey Willingham, and our very own killer Heather Goodcoff, along with a bunch of other killer authors. So make sure to check it out. It is coming April 10th. And if you're an Audible member, you get it for free with your membership.
Woohoo. Great. And speaking of amazing reads, we have a new release to add to your toppling TBR. Check out She's Always Hungry by Eliza Clark. It's a thriller short story collection, so you'll need to check that one out. Unsettling, revelatory, and laced with her signature dark humor, Eliza Clark's debut short story collection plumbs the depths of that most basic human feeling, hunger. And Eliza is giving away 3 copies of She's Always Hungry to lucky US viewers. So you know the drill. Drop a comment if you'd like to be entered for this one or any of the books that we've mentioned. And remember to tell us where you are from. Good luck. And don't forget to check out the Killer's latest books.
That's right. Find out what the nanny saw in the sequel to Kara's The Second Mrs. Strom.
And Heather's latest, Everyone Is Watching, is Big Brother Meets Clue in a reality show gone horribly wrong.
And Paris is always a good idea, and so is Kimberly's The Paris Widow, about a dream vacation gone horribly awry.
It's a lot of horrible going on there. Okay. Okay. Killer membership in the Killer Author Club has its privileges. So, of course, you guys are all members of our private Facebook group, Killer Author Club. And if you're not, hop over there, because every episode we announce a name from we choose a name out of the hat to win killer swag, t-shirts, mugs, candles, totes, all that kind of stuff. Tonight's winner is Laura Meyer. Congratulations, Laura, and please send one of us killers your address and we'll send some killer author swag your way. So you guys, if you're not a member, now's the time to join.
That's right. I will drop the link in the comments in just a second. But first, Benjamin, tell us where our listeners and viewers can find you.
Yeah, mainly on Instagram at Stevenson Experience, Stevenson with a V. That's pretty much the main thing I use, purely for the sanctity of writing time, I would suggest that the other apps started adding up into my writing days. And the HarperCollins website for all of my book stuff.
Love it. Well, we also have some really great news for you. You've survived the Killer Author Club.
Oh, great.
I know it was close, but you did it. So congrats. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So much fun. And so that does it for tonight's episode. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, and make sure to mark your calendars for 1 week from today, December 17th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, when the Geneva Rose will be joining the Killer Author Club to tell us all about the perfect marriage. In the meantime, you can find us wasting entirely too much time on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all the places. And for all the information you need, times, upcoming schedules, past episodes, recipes, and merch, surf to killerauthorclub.com. Thank you for being part of the club. Bye, everyone.
That does it for tonight's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to catch our next show live, we're every other Tuesday night on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For times, upcoming schedule, and to catch up on past episodes, visit us at killerauthorclub.com. Happy reading. Now get on out there and kill that TBR.